Hello, hello, hello. Hope you can hear me. I'm just making sure a few last minute things are working okay before I commit to chatting. But yeah, looks like things are working. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. There's so much stuff in front of me that I don't know where to look. But I'll take you on a little tour of all this stuff after a little while, once I, make sure everything's working okay. I thought this would be a lot easier than actually end up being to make work, but because I brought everything into the kitchen, and black screen, it should be fixed in a second. I think that was me just fading out of that, so hopefully you can see me, hopefully. But yeah, I brought everything into the kitchen, and yeah, I wanted to, oh, that's a very loud chair. There's some things you just don't notice until you try to do a live stream in your house. You probably hear me creaking around a lot as the time goes on. But yeah, so this is a little look at the kitchen table. You can kind of see what's on here. I have my brand new setup working. The lips match the words, no sync issues. That's great to hear. Blade Runner 983. I'm happy to hear that. I never really tested that actually, if I'm honest. So it's good to hear. Yeah, so I've got my new ATEM setup, ATEM Television Studio HD setup on the table. I'll take you on a little tour of that in a minute. Hopefully I won't break the camera as I try to take you on a tour, but we'll get to that. I've got the screen here. I've got my little mini PC sitting here. I've got my laptop here for just replying to comments and stuff. But yeah, let me know in the comments. I don't even know what. There we go. Okay. Yeah, let me know in the comments where you're coming from. I'm really interested to hear where people are tuning in from. If you're like me on a Saturday night or Sunday night, yeah, Sunday night with nothing better to do than make this video, or in your case, sit around Sunday night and watch it. So let me know where you're from, and we'll get back to that a little bit later in the video. But in the meantime, I think I will get up and I will take you on a little tour of everything. Now, like I said, I'm really hoping that if I unplug this camera or unseat it from the tripod, that it won't break everything. If it does, I'll fix it in a second. Oh yeah, okay, that works. So let's just go on a little tour around the kitchen. Well, we don't really care about the kitchen part, but I guess what you care about is what I'm using here. So I've got my, like I said, I've got my new ATEM Television Studio HD. That's doing the main work of the day. There you can see it. I actually wanted to record this, so let me just hit record on that. But there you can see it working in action as I, flick through all the buttons. I mean, this number one is a great reason to have this new one, because you have nice little buttons to play with. And then just next to that, I've just pressed record on it. Not that it matters too much, but you can see the HyperDeck Studio Mini there, recording the program of what's happening. A little bit of an Inception effect there. And then just above that is I don't remember what the make was, but it's a little power strip thing. All the plugs are on the other side, and then I've got a big switch in the front here. I'll not turn that off because that will quite literally shut it all down. And then above that, I've kind of just had a little bit of fun today where I fastened this screen onto the outside of my case. So you can see there that it folds down and then folds back out again. As this is like a mobile rig, that's basically what I want to do, is sort of flap things down whenever time comes to move and then flap it back up again. Like I said, I just did this today, so you can see there that I'm using some sellotape to keep it from going all the way back. I never said I was finished, but I certainly started it today. I'm just grabbing my phone here so we can continue the tour around the back of the setup. Just making sure you can still see. Yeah, you can. Great. Okay, so it's a cozy little 2U rack unit that I have running here. This is what I wanted to do over my previous rack unit, which was a 4U, but in this case I wanted to really shrink things down. So I guess you can just about see, oh, my phone was in the way, sorry. You can just about see the ATEM television studio was on the bottom there, and then there's your, oh, you probably can't even see, yeah, just about see there. There's a router right above that, Velcro to the top, and then way in the back you can see the power strip there. And then over on the other side is the a few bits and pieces, power stuff, and the HyperDeck Studio Mini. Yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything in particular you want to see. I'm just reading some comments here as I I'll come back to that in a second actually. But yeah, so let me know if there's anything you want to see in particular that I have set up here. Like I said, this is sort of like a new setup that I'll be using next year for conferences and events, and things are taking a bit longer to get finished than I thought, so I guess I'm just sort of testing things out today to see how they all work together. So camera's back and running again. Let me see if I had it in the right place. Yeah, I guess I kind of did. And then everything's running into a Blackmagic Ultra Studio Mini recorder, and that is feeding this laptop. So in a second this laptop will start, I can already hear the fans boosting up and working that way, so you will hear that you know, work its magic. I don't really mind that the fans run whenever I'm at a conference streaming, but for me doing it right now, it's going to get pretty warm and it's going to get a little bit annoying in the background, so hopefully in the future I'll come up with a better thing to do with all that. But in the meantime, you've replied with a few comments here. Frankfurt, India, Ukraine, Las Vegas, Windsor in Canada. And then, what else have I got? Can you, if you can you drop a link to the power conditioner? I don't think you would even call it a conditioner as such, but it is, actually I think I found, oh there it is, okay. It's just like a power rack. Can I post links in the comment? Yeah, I guess I can. There's a link to the power thing I'm using. It's got a switch in the front. It's got two USB ports on the back, which are hidden behind all the stuff that I've crammed in there. So I'm not sure I'm ever going to get to use them. But yeah, it's got a whole lot of plugs and more than I needed, which is what I wanted to do. Put more in there than I need, and then if I guess if I start to run out of space, I'll have to just remove things. So that's one of the big things I found about reworking this whole case into a smaller design. I mean, if you may have saw my my previous TV live streaming setup thing, I was going to point up to the top, but I haven't got that in there. But it was a 4U. It was the same case, actually. It's the same make from Gear for Music, a 4U case. But I always found that it was too big for what I wanted, so I wanted to shrink things down. And the monitors I showed you a second ago, they're going to go away at some point, and I'll just get one single monitor. I'm just struggling to find a monitor that fits in the cases that I have. So in the meantime, I've just, as you can see there, I've just bolted this onto the top of that. I'll come back and maybe make it a little bit prettier looking, but I've just bolted it on there just to make it work. What else have we got here? Random geocacher, you're new to SDI. I'm not sure if I can get into all that right now, but when you're working with Blackmagic products, all the inputs have to be the same. So in this case, this one only does 1080p 50 or 60. So if you're outputting something in 4K and plug it into this, then it's not gonna work. You're gonna have to scale it or change the camera settings to be, let's say 1080p 60 or 50 or whatever the frame rate you choose. But in this switcher's case, it wouldn't work. In the 4K versions, it would work, but you need to make sure all the inputs are matched the same. Oh, we're getting lots of comments coming in now. You want to see the ski mask? I think. Oh yeah, I tell you, the funny thing about doing this kind of stuff, if you do it, you probably well know, but you buy something and then a few months later you realize, oh, there's a better version, or there's another version I want to buy. So it was only like a year ago that I posted my video of my first rack case build, and now here I am a year later rebuilding and mixing things up. So I just constantly buying stuff. It worked flawlessly. That's good to hear. Can you explain the router setup from Marco? Basically, what I'm doing right now is I have a router. What do I say? Router? I say router, but I get a lot of hard times for saying router. So I'm going to say router anyway. That's why I talk. I have a router in my house, obviously getting the internet in, and then one of the connections out of that is coming into a router built into this. And then the router inside this is jumping on that network and creating its own network, wireless and wired. And then all of the stuff that's built into this box is all connected to that router. So it's kind of like its own little sub router thing. I don't really get networking that well. I just know how to make this work. And it took me a while the other day to remember, because like I said, I built this a year ago with a different router that I've now put aside and bought a new one that's smaller. And it took me a while to figure out what I figured out back then. So there's definitely a video in that somewhere where it's like how to build a sub router setup. Because the beauty about this is that I can use all of my local stuff on the same network. I can connect wirelessly to my here to record wireless setup. So if I go to a conference, if you ever see me at a conference, there's a here to record Wi-Fi being beamed out of this box, and then I can jump on that and I can use that dedicated pipe to well, stream first of all, but to also just connect to my devices to control them and all that stuff. I hope that made sense. How many? Oh wait, I lost track of myself here. I'm not using the Multicam setup for this video, EVG Media, because I just thought I'm just sitting here. But that'd be cool. That'd actually be really cool to live stream as I play with that. My plan for next year, I'm going to say it out loud now, so maybe I will stick to it. My plan for next year is to do at least one live stream every month, where I'll either have a topic to talk about, or we can do general Q&A kind of stuff like this. But that's going to be my plan for next year. One video per month. Let's see how that works out. I'm hoping that it goes well. And if there's anything you want to see in those videos, then just let me know. Because I think it'll just kind of be like a little general chit chat for maybe like 30 minutes or something. And then a specific topic, I guess, makes sense too. So does that answer the question? Oh yeah, the question was the Multicamzilla. Maybe I could try that in one of the future live streams. That'd be cool. How many cameras am I using? This one, I'm using 2 cameras for today's shoot. One wide camera, the HF G25 from Canon, and then one close-up camera, the X810. And then I have a couple of other inputs, which is my computer, which is what you can see there, and then another computer that's connected in, and you can just see coming up there. I wanted to talk about that in this video. That was going to be the topic of this video, but I guess I don't think I'll get time to talk about it today. I'll talk about it in a different video. But basically, it's a new way of doing like breaks during live streams, and a new thing I've kind of been working on to try and get the schedule into the stream in some way. Let's crack on to the next question. That's cool. But lower thirds, are you using them live or in post-production? Funny, I never really use... Oh wait, do I still have this set up here? I guess not. What does that do? Nothing. Sorry, I got distracted there. Yesterday I was just playing with... oh, I guess I deleted them on my computer. Is that it? Wait, I'm going to do this live now. This was not for the live stream in any way. This was just me having some fun. Oh no. That was well done, wasn't it? That's how you automatically go to throw something on program there. But what I was doing yesterday was just having a little play with logos and stuff. And then you can see, you know, I'm giving this my fullest attention as I mess around here. But because I've never really used, let me see. Okay, this should work now. I've never really used, aha, there we go. I've never really used, to answer the original question, lower thirds and stuff during a live production. I always feel like that's something I'll just add afterwards, because I guess most of the things I've live streamed anyway have been conferences that it didn't really, I felt like didn't really need them in there. I'm going to take that back off again. Oh yeah, I can do it on here. Oh, cool. Nice to have buttons on the front here. But yeah, so conferences, I never really felt like it needed to have lower thirds, you know, with a name, because I would just add that stuff to the video afterwards, you know, a little opening slide or something like that. So I guess I never really did that. And then yesterday I was just playing around with this. And it worked. It took me a while to figure out. In fact, I had to watch someone else's video to figure out how to properly export that little image from Photoshop without doing without using both of my media players. Maybe I'll get to that in a future video as well. So we'll see. Let me see. Are those? La la la. Double A. Are those antenna connections or just cables? I'm not really sure what you're talking about there, I'm afraid. What do I think about OBS Studio? I'm using Wirecast to live stream this video. I've been playing with both of them recently. I've always used Wirecast. Well, not always. I mean, I've always used Wirecast actually, but I've only done a little bit of playing around with OBS in the last like few weeks, and I don't know. I just felt like the tests I did, I just couldn't get the same quality out of OBS that I could out of Wirecast. I have Wirecast sitting here, and I may as well use it, and I like it perfectly fine. But I like OBS. I love that whole like open source and free. I will recommend to people to use it if they want to, you know, dabble in that kind of stuff for free, and then if they might want to pay for something, they might want to go to Wirecast, or they might get used to it. Maybe it's just my lack of experience so far that I found that I couldn't get the same quality out of it as I did with Wirecast. I'm going to take a drink while I read more comments. La la la. Okay, next question. Random geocacher. The Blackmagic SmartView monitors, how do they look in real life? Good, moderate, bad? You know what? I'm going to say, when I first got them, I thought good to moderate. And then, I'm looking at them right now because they're here. And then after a while, and now, I haven't been using them in a while. I've been using like just other small little monitors and stuff. And now I put it on and it looks terrible. It's not anything you can use to focus, to check color, to check anything you want to check. The quality of the screen is just not good enough. They need to be at least like 1080p. These screens, they just need to be. If you get close to this, it just doesn't look good. So in my future setup, I won't be using these at all. Like I said, if you maybe you didn't see the start, but I I went out today and I bought some hinges, and I just screwed it on to the case there. You can probably just see one of the hinges just to the side here, so that I can do this whenever I go traveling. I can flop it down, and then when I get to the venue, I put it back up, and then when I want to put it away, I flop it down again. And that way it doesn't take up as much space. And I can already tell I didn't do a good job because it's so shaky. But it will be fine for now as I try to fix it. Yeah, it was just a quick little thing just to see if it would work until I get a good monitor for them. So to answer your question, I want a better quality panels. The size, the SDI, the fact that well, I guess that's all. Rack mountable, yeah. But the size of the screens, 7-inch screens, yeah, I think they're 7-inch screens. Works great. Happy with that, but I just don't really like the actual the little screens that are in there. It's just not good enough quality. Okay, let's go back over to the screen here and check for more questions. And I'm wondering, actually, here's a good question. How well can you hear all the stuff in the background? Probably pretty well, right? The fans, the computer fans got quiet, but the ATEM fans and stuff are blowing air, so you can probably hear them pretty well in the background, right? Let me know. We'll get to that. Let's go into a little more questions. What am I using for mic? That's from Robinson's Auto. You're thinking of doing more live events, I guess, and you like that the setup's clear. These microphones I use are the Rode Filmmakers Kit. The Rode Filmmakers Kit is what I use for this. And you should be able to see it here. Yeah, so this is the Rode Filmmakers Kit. I think they're pretty good. I don't know if I would trust them at a conference. They run over the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum frequency, whatever you want to call it, whatever the right term is, I should say. I find them good for this kind of stuff. Like the sender's here, the receiver is just right there on top of that camera, like 2 meters away. So they work fine for that. And I've used them in meetups where there's like 100 people maybe, and they work very well for that too. I've never really tested them in conferences, you know, in like a 300 people, 500 people venue, lots of people, maybe lots of laptops, lots of interference. So I can't say if I trust them with that. I guess I can't say until I, you know, test it someday. But for this kind of stuff, I think they're great. Run on AA batteries. I'm looking up at it. It's up there to see what my battery level is. So I can see the two indicators on the receiver there tell me what the battery levels are. We should be good for the next while. And you can also run them off little power banks as well. So for this kind of stuff, and if you think it sounds good, and they're a lot less expensive than, well, the more professional ones out there. So I would pick some up if you're thinking about doing this. Get one set and see what it sounds like. I think it was like £250 UK. So yeah, it might be worth it. Give it a go. How am I syncing voices and video in this? I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name, I'm afraid. But I think you were the first person from. Maybe not. No. Okay, never mind. For this video, I'm happy to hear that it's all synced up. That's excellent. I'm not really using anything fancy. Instead of putting the audio from the microphone into the ATEM directly, which can cause audio sync issues, my audio is going straight into the camera. So that's the Canon X810. It has XLR on top of it. The Rode Link Filmmakers Kit does not come with an XLR cable, but you get a little attachment, click it in there, and then what happens is the audio and video are coming down the same HDMI cable into my switcher. So that should mean, in theory, that the sync is next to perfect. In fact, I've been testing recently, and I found, rather weirdly, that instead of my audio being like a frame out of sync, so my audio being a frame ahead, then instead, I'm not explaining this very well, but usually what happens is your audio comes before your video, right? And then you delay your audio so it syncs up with your video. That's what you usually do. But from some tiny tests I've been doing, and I'm not 100% sure yet, it seems like my video is like ever so slightly ahead of my audio. So in order to delay the video, I don't even know what kind of devices I would need to make that all delay. So I think what I'll do is just try to see at an event, do a little clap test then, and then afterwards I'll review it and say, okay, the audio is one frame behind the video, and then I'll just slip everything in to sync it up. So testing will continue, and I will get to the bottom of it. And it's like milliseconds, like tiny milliseconds delay, where the video is just ever so slightly ahead of the audio. So I'll figure that out and figure out what the problem is. But until now, I haven't really done anything to sync up audio for this, for conferences, because when the audio and the video come in on the same signal down HDMI into the switcher, I found that it's been nicely in sync. So I haven't had that issue. Wow, I am rambling so much about all these things. Let's see. Do you know my upload speed? Yes, I have, well, I should have 100 up and 100 down. Mokomo, that's a nice thing to say. I should have 100 up and 100 down in the apartment here. When I do tests every once in a while, it looks more like 95-ish or 90-90. So that's more than enough for this. I tell you, the amount of stuff that I've uploaded through this internet really fast. I back up everything on Backblaze, and we're talking like big old conferences where it's like 1.5 terabytes after I'm finished editing, and then I boil it all down to what I really want to keep, put it on a hard drive, and then I back that hard drive up, and we're talking like 1.5 terabytes, like I said, and it just goes up in no time. So the audio or the internet speed here is pretty good. This stream is going out at like 6 meg. I always say meg because I forget which one it is. Megabits. It doesn't matter. Anyway, this one's going out at 6,000. I'm confusing myself again. But it's way under what I need, so we're fine. We're fine. Thanks for asking. Thanks. Hi from Paris. That's cool. EVG Media. Yeah. Again, if you're just tuning in, let me know where you're from in the comments. I'm just interested to hear where people are coming from and what people are up to on this Sunday night. I mean, you're watching this, but you're probably doing something else in the background, so let me know. Cracking on, the reason that AA asked about the antenna cables, right, is that they were 90-degree cables. Ah, okay, yeah. So I think you mean on the back of this monitor, there's 90-degree cables down here. Yeah, so these are some that I picked up off Amazon. You can see there that, if I can find it, wait, here it is, yeah. They're like little 90-degree heads on them. Oh, random geocacher? Oh, we'll get back to that. So I picked those up on Amazon, and they said that they were for, like, maybe they said something like for the Blackmagic products. I don't know if they said that they were 3 gig SDI, but that's what I wanted to get, and I found that they work with 3 gig SDI, so I'm happy either way. I'm just trying to pick it up here. Yeah, okay, these are the ones I bought. Let me take you on there. So these are from Alvin's Cables, whoever Alvin is, and they are BNC to BNC right angle cables. So I've been using these recently on my setup because what I found before, what I used, are you over there? What I used before, doesn't matter. Anyway, they were like the full thickness BNC cables that I bought in my old rack case, and I never really liked how much room they took up. They weren't very flexible. They weren't really built to do that kind of stuff, I don't think. So I found a bunch of those on Amazon, as you saw there. They were £10 each, and they work. Yeah, what I was saying was that they were listed for Blackmagic cameras. So, you know, I don't know, they write these things on there to get people like me to buy them. So it worked, and they work. I don't know if how to see if I'm getting any signal degradation over the right angle, but we'll see. And I'm just saying that you said that that's exactly what you were talking about, so you're welcome. Hopefully that answered the question. I guess if they stop working or they don't work, then I'll be annoyed and I'll let you know. That's how we'll do it. So going back up a little, Just reading. What do I think about the NDI standards, devices and their role? I did look a little bit into NDI, but first of all, the price of like, is it the Spark? I think it's called Connect Spark, something like that. The price of that is just way out of what I want to spend on something like that. I feel like if you have a TriCaster, if you have Wirecast, maybe if you have vMix, all of these kind of things, NDI, yes, it's definitely a viable option. If you're running on Blackmagic gear like I am, you're gonna have to buy so many extra bits and pieces to take the camera signal, turn it into NDI, then turn it back into like HDMI on the other side, and you may as well just use, in my case where I move from venue to venue, I don't really get to set up in one place for longer than 2 days, so I just run SDI cables or small HDMI cables, and I'm okay with that. So I think it looks great. I'd like to try it out, but I don't really think it works into my, or it fits into my workflow at all. So, but I'm sure there's, I just don't get why. I understand why it's so expensive, but it's just not within my like budget, especially having bought all this stuff. If I bought like a TriCaster, like I said, or something like that, or if it was in a fixed venue, maybe I could do it then, but I don't think so right now. Oh, okay, yes. It's hard to find where I left off. Okay, hi from West Palm Beach, Florida, from Zach. That's cool. That's pretty far away. I've been to Florida once, and around this time last year, and it rained, and all my camera gear we took a delayed flight, or our flight got delayed, so we got changed, and the camera gear got left back in Copenhagen. So we went to Florida for a conference to record, and the camera gear didn't come for another 2 days, so I had to hire a really expensive camera. So it's not your fault, but I'm saying that next time I come to Florida, I'm hoping for a better experience. So thanks for enjoying the stuff. Let's see. The random geocacher says the fans are quite audible, so it sounds okay for this video. That's good to hear. If it wasn't enjoyable to listen to, then I would have to think of a way of putting this somewhere else whenever I do these live streams, which I'm hoping to do more of, like I said. So the fact that I can keep it here is perfect, because then I don't have to, put it in the other room and then bring out another box to control it and then bring my monitors in here. It was going to get very complicated. So if it's audible, and if it's okay and it's like livable, then I think I'll just keep it right here. Maybe distance myself a little, but that's good to hear. Let's see, what else? Who else is chatting? You can hear my little song as I read through. People saying nice things. I feel so weird reading out nice things people are saying about the channel, so I'm just going to read those and appreciate them, but not necessarily read them out loud. But Bluefire Ninja, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Blade Runner 983 says that they use the Blackmagic design Intensity Shuttle, and you noticed when audio was embedded with the video through HDMI, there are no sync issues. Oh, that's good to hear. I have an Intensity Shuttle, and I don't really use it much anymore because I use the mini recorder, and it's got everything I need. But that's good to hear. People seem to be constantly having problems with mini recorders, Intensity Shuttles, and I always put my Facebook Messenger link underneath every one of my videos, so you can talk directly to Here to Record, which is me obviously, with any issues. And I have a bunch of people coming in there asking questions from time to time, from I'm getting this piece of gear, what should I do? Or I'm thinking about getting an ATEM, should I get one? Sorry, I'm gonna take a little drink of water now. And it seems like one of the biggest issues people have are with Intensity Shuttles and mini recorders, because either they don't do what you thought they were going to do maybe, or the software, you forget to install it, or they just don't work with PCs. That's my main question is, that's great, but what if I have a PC? So I'm good. It's good to hear someone has a positive intensity shuttle story. Random geocacher. If you're still here, whereabouts in Sweden? You don't have to be too specific. But I also am in Sweden right now, so we're not far away from each other. If you say the same town, that's gonna screw with me. But that's where I'm at too. From Germany, that's cool. EVG Media says they are using NDI for a few weeks now, but it's not really reliable for the moment. Interesting. Have I heard of any other wireless video transmitters? Oh, wireless video transmitters. I haven't needed one since about 10 years ago, whenever probably more than 10 years ago actually, now when I think about it. When I did one of my first ever like live recording kind of things when I was in school. So what age am I now? 20? Okay, way longer than 10 years ago then. Whenever I was in school, and I was up on the balcony in the venue, and then we had a wireless transmitter, and it was like like a yellow video cable, like, what is that even called? Composite component? I always get them two mixed up. Anyway, it was plugged into that, and the wireless video transmitter was on the other side onto the projector for the video signal, and it was constantly going out. And I guess I've had scars in my mind of that since then. So I always go wired. If you want to go wireless, I feel like you kind of have to just buy like expensive stuff, because you know it'll work. Teradek seems to be like one of the go-tos for wireless camera feeds. Honestly, I would do my very, very best if you can go wired, even if it's a long SDI cable, even if you want to pay for fiber, then try your very best to get that way. I can't say too much about wireless now that I'm taking a step back now and saying my lack of experience with wireless means that I can't be too informative for you, but hopefully that gives you a general idea of where I stand on wireless. It's like, no, it's funny, everyone, or not everyone, a bunch of people said to me recently, I was just reading a question there, and it got me confused. People have been saying, what about the Sling Studio? What about the Sling Studio? What do you think of that? And it always comes down to like, it's pretty much geared at wireless setups, and I don't want that. So as much as I would like to give it a go and see how well it works, as soon as you bring that into a big old conference venue and you start having issues with wireless, then that's it. The show has to happen right now, and it's not working. What do you do? But if it's wired, I'm not saying it will work, but it most likely will. So that's my tales of wireless for you today. Let me see. I earned a new sub from Robinson's Auto. That's excellent to hear. Thank you so much for watching. And then hello. What on-screen recorder are you using? If you mean, when you say Robinson Auto, if you mean what on-screen recorder am I using to bring up this right now, then that is just the laptop going into the ATEM, into my video switcher directly, and then I'm just switching to it. If you mean in general for other videos, the chances are that I'm running either just QuickTime Recorder, or if I don't want the fans to run in the background, which can be annoying, then I'll go HDMI out of my laptop into external recorder like the Studio Mini. I'm pointing at it here, you can't see it, but it's here. HyperDeck Studio Mini, or the HyperDeck Shuttle that I have. So I'll plug it into that and just do like a nice clean recording. The file size is huge, but at least you don't hear the fan, and at least it's a really nice recording. So there's a bunch of options there with that one, definitely. Random geocacher again. My GH5, nice that you have a GH5, I've got one too, is 4 frames at 25p. Yeah, the GH5 is pretty delayed, isn't it? So a 4-frame audio delay seems perfect for that particular camera. But yeah, HDMI is easier than fixing. Yeah, exactly. Just do things. If you can, don't bring your audio and your video in separately. Just bring your audio into your camera, and then your camera into your switcher, or into whatever. If you're just going on Wirecast with one camera, bring it in through the camera, and it's going to be so much easier for you in the end, definitely. Trinidad and Tobago. Andrea, that's where you're from. Very cool. Lithuania. Wow. Double A telling me that oh no, that's somebody else. Never mind. Yeah, WD Player 12. Do I transmit wireless video? I think I might have summed that up pretty well, saying that no wireless, just wired. Sorry, did I miss a question? Oh, Zurich Datacon Watchout. I actually didn't know what that was, so I did skip your question. I'm sorry about that. Oh, actually, yeah, I do know what that is. Do I know what that is? Datacon. This is what you're asking about. What is? If I just scroll to the bottom, though, it's probably not fun for you to watch. But I don't know anything about this, I'm afraid. I will give it a go, or maybe have a look into it later and see what it is. That's why I overlooked your question. Sorry about that. Fahara Media says, I have sound sync issues whenever I use the Television Studio HD, Web Presenter, and OBS. How do I solve this? I would ask you a question and say, oh wait, maybe somebody's already answered your question. But yeah, okay, random geocacher, you've already answered. I think you've already answered the question. Figure out the video delay and set the same delay on the audio. Yeah, the only other thing I was going to say to you on that is whereabouts is the delay happening? Because you might want to do like a little test to see the video coming out of your Television Studio into the Web Presenter. Is that delayed? Is it delayed there? Or is it whenever you get as far as the computer? Because sometimes that can slow things down. At least I think it can. So that's a place to definitely check as well. Let's see, who else? Blade Runner 983. I'm the one who sold you an Intensity Shuttle after you watching the video. Good. So, and were you the one who said that it worked okay up there? So if you bought it on my recommendation and it worked, then I'm happy. If you bought it on my recommendation and it didn't work, then I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't recommend it. Hi from Philadelphia. You like the channel? Excellent. And you building your own portable studio? That's cool to hear. I am in the midst of building my own second portable studio, smaller version of the older one I made before. So always good to spend money. Random geocacher, that's not where I live. I live in, so now I live in Sweden, but my Swedish is not very good. But I live in Kristianstad. I always do that when I say something in Swedish. But a little more south of you. I was up in Göteborg a few months ago, staying over, so it was nice to be there. But I live a bit further south than you, so you're not out the window watching. Good. Missouri, let's see, where else? Palm Beach, Florida. Oh, I already read that, and I already said stuff about that. Hardwire, put a cable on that thing. Yeah, that sounds about right. From Italy as well. Wow, okay. Can you stream, here's a question from Stefano. Can you stream and record audio at the same time? Can you stream and record audio at the same time? Well, you can stream and record at the same time. That's what I'm doing right now. Everything's coming into Wirecast and it's streaming. And then at the same time, I'm recording on the Hyperdeck. Can you stream and record audio at the same time? I guess you could do the same thing, but just with a slightly different setup. I guess I don't really know the question too much, so I'm going to have to leave that. Stoke-on-Trent, that's where Raza786 Media is from. And the same person, Raza, is looking for good supplier of patch equipment. In my previous, I bought all my patch panel stuff from, let me see here, from, I guess you pronounce Thomann, right? Patch panel. So this is where I got all my stuff from. And I went from, maybe it'll take me a while to find. But that is where I got my, let me see, if I just open up the, anyway, that's where I got them from. It'll take me a while to find what I wanted to bring out. But if you, here's what you do. You go on my YouTube channel, you find my building a TV studio and a flight case video, and then underneath that there's links to where I got all the stuff. And there's a blog post where I got all the stuff that I got for HDMI, SDI, patches, and you should be able to see all that stuff in there. So hope that kind of points you in the right direction. Let me see. Blade Runner 983, you got the Intensity Shuttle running on your iMac and using Windows. Interesting. Yeah. You have to work in Linux. Okay. I don't really use Windows at all, and I don't use Linux. I've never actually used Linux. And then, sorry, I'm just going to put a link just to clear that up for, there we go. Yeah, so I've never used Linux at all. So I guess I'll never get that working for you. I don't know if I'll ever use that. But it's good to know you got Intensity Shuttle working on your Mac and on the Windows running. So it seems like people just have millions of problems with those things. Online, not necessarily people who bought them because I told them to buy them, but I've seen a lot of people with issues on them. And Raza789 is putting together a live stream fight case. That's another question for people, actually. Is what brought you to this channel? I'm obviously very appreciative that you're here watching this video, but what brought you here? Are you building a studio? Are you interested in some of the gear that I've mentioned? Are you, I don't know what else you might want to be doing, but you're here for a reason. You subscribed for a reason, probably. So what was that reason? Do you work at a venue that you needed a little bit of research, or what? So let me know down below, or no, actually in the chat, or maybe if you're watching this afterwards, you can let me know in the comments. I'm just spotting here that Zach Schwartz's comments are all getting restricted because I can't do anything about it. Sorry, Zach. I did read what you said though. You said next time I'm in Florida, then I should call you, and maybe I'll have a better time when I'm there than last time. So you're getting restricted because you said call me, as if it's like a dodgy thing. So there, you've commented again. That's pretty funny. But I will, most definitely. EVG Media, do you know the cheapest way to have PTZ cameras other than using Multicamzilla, which is quite expensive? Yeah, you might have saw the last couple of weeks on the channel. I did some videos about Multicamzilla stuff. They did send it to me just to take a look at for the video. Let me see, Multicamzilla. If I can get the site up and running. But yeah, they sent this to me to take a look at a couple of the heads, just to see what, I guess, what I thought of it and how people could use it. For me personally, it fits in really nicely to into my setup, definitely, because I already have the right cameras, the Canon cameras in my case. Some Panasonic cameras you can use too, but the Canon cameras, it seems like it's really built for that. So, but what you were saying was, is there a cheaper way to do it? You could go DIY PTZ if you want all the acronyms, but you could do it that way because Zach, you're getting just completely restricted because you keep putting in the same thing. But you could do that. You could buy these heads, I'll bet, somewhere online, and then program your own thing. That would be cheaper, definitely. I did try with Arduinos one time to see if I could do it, but I just wasn't skilled enough, so I cancelled that. You could, let me see, you could also, well, you could just buy PTZ cameras, but I'm guessing that those are a bit too expensive for you as well. But the only reason the Multicamzilla stuff can seem quite expensive is because you're buying 4 camera heads, plus your cameras, but I think when you divide it all down, then it works out pretty worthwhile. It's a bit of an investment, sure, but it works out worthwhile. And if you're in my case where you have the cameras already, then adding the PTZ heads to them is perfect. So I guess I didn't really answer your question there, because I personally haven't went for PTZ cameras standalone for reasons: expensive, price, they're quite big and bulky often, and you can't record internally to them, so I'm going to have to get an extra recorder to get a safety recording of the camera. So if I get more in the future, I'll come back to that one. Let me see. Oh yeah, so people were answering my questions now. What my question was, what reason brought you to this channel? So mobile setups from Random Geocacher, and my channel popped up. No, sorry, you said search for a rack mountable, and it popped up, and then you said that other thing too. Never mind. And then AA wanted to learn about video making equipment, and you're learning some stuff now. Excellent. Oh, you wanted to teach that kind of stuff. That's cool. Raza786 Media, you are asking about, have I ever live streamed over 4G and how do I achieve this? I have never done it. I've never done it. I've always had wired. I don't really live stream that much of my conferences that I record. Most of the people I work for, they just want good quality recordings of the conference. Sometimes they want it streamed to a different room within the building. But live streaming to the world is something I've just done from time to time, always wired over the internal internet, so never a problem. But I'm just looking at the time, because the time is going faster than I thought. I got distracted. But what was the question? Okay, I'm going back now. Oh yeah, over 4G. The router I bought, you can plug in a dongle for 4G in that. There's the Teradek Video Pro. You can plug in a few dongles, I believe, as well. There's some services that can do bonding with dongles. I would say if I ever do it, I will at least do 2 things at the same time and bond them together, whether that's done through software or through hardware. I don't know if I would rely on one single 4G internet source, so I'm not really giving you a good answer there. But if I do, I definitely will make a video about that and how I did it. But I guess I would say is bonding is what you want, and if you really had to go 4G, then that's a shame. Hopefully somebody has a wired connection somewhere. Reading more questions. AA says, like you said, it's a big hobby for you right now, which is RC, I guess. Do you mean that in your RC hobby right now it's big to do this kind of equipment stuff? If so, then that's pretty cool. And then Aaron is starting up a new business very similar to mine. So he brought him here. So hopefully you're not taking away any of my business. Well, I'm not really worried about that. But I guess people ask me for like business-ish advice sometimes, and I do try my best to give them a good answer. Most people don't live like, oh yeah, like somebody who lives 45 minutes away from me here, Ricard. I think I know who that is. So that's, but yeah, most people don't live, maybe I don't know who that is, close to me, and I'm not really taking business, so I like to give people information. And the whole channel is based around telling people how to do what I'm doing professionally. The lucky thing for me is that I work about 3 to 4 days a week on a different job, making videos for customers. So I'm not always making conferences, so it's okay to sell or to give away some of my information for free. So that wasn't a question, I was just rambling again. Robinson's Auto, you were just looking for multi-camera streaming, and then I popped up. That's always cool to hear. And then EVG Media, kind of following on from the 4G stuff a second ago, they're using an omnidirectional 4G antenna. That's a mouthful, which is not bad. So which is not bad. If that's the quote, put that on your product. It's not bad, yeah. It doesn't sound like you fully believe in it. Let's see, who else? Yeah, Ricard, he says he lives 45 minutes from me. I don't know how you know that. How do you know that you live 45 minutes from me? I guess maybe the address is online, but anyway. Watching from Kenya, East Africa, very cool. Do you know live streams on social networks, YouTube videos? Thank you, thank you. Signal is very hit and miss from Razit786. Are you saying that about 4G signals in general, or are you talking about my live stream right now? Hopefully you're talking about 4G signals and not this live stream. Let's just mix it up a little with this shot. If you're just joining us, you can see all my stuff on the table here. My new live streaming rig for conferences coming up next year. It's about half the size of my old one. It weighs less, and it is technically better than the old one, so it's something I'm going to probably be one of my first videos in the new year would be like what I built here. The reason that the video hasn't come out yet is just because it's taken me a long time to get all the pieces and test things, and right now I'm running, okay, long story short, the old ATEM1ME that I had, the HD switcher, it ran up to 1080i 50, 1080i 60, depending on where you live, and I was okay with that. Oh yeah, I did say where I lived. What am I? Sorry. Anyway, let me get back to that story, and then I'll come back to you. I'm a real professional here, getting distracted by people talking. So I ran up to 1080i 50. That's what I did in my old switcher. It's lying over on the floor over there. If you want it, you can pay for it. But I got this new one so I could go up to 1080p 25 or 1080p 50. And I wanted to go to 1080p 25 because 1080p 50 just seemed like way too much like file sizes. That I didn't really want to buy that many SD cards and do that many frames per second. So 1080p 25 was my plan. My cameras don't output 1080p 25, so I need to convert them. But they do output 1080p 50, but once I plugged them into the switcher, there was like a little line at the top here that flickered the whole time. It was doing like a weird interlace flicker thing. So that's not gonna work. So everything's running in 1080i 50 today for this live stream. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I was, well, I wasn't late, but I was frantically trying to get things set up before it all happened. One of the reasons that I have this little mini PC on the table here and this monitor over here is because I wanted to get to something in this live stream episode, but I just couldn't get it working because I changed everything over to 1080i 50 in the last minute and frantically trying to run around and get things to work. So I didn't get to that, but I'll come to that in videos in the new year definitely, and in future live streams as well. I don't remember where I started. See, this is what you don't usually when you watch my videos. You don't see all this rambling. You see rambling, but you don't see all this losing the train of thought stuff. But I guess there was no point there. The new switcher, I wanted to get it to change to 1080p instead of 1080i because 1080i was giving me a lot of problems in Final Cut, and then I just got annoyed with that. So 1080p, but I'm not taking advantage of it today. I'm using 1080i for reasons that I've already mentioned. So move on with my day. Let me see. Where can you find live streaming jobs other than church ceremonies? How and where can you find conferences? Thanks from the UK. That's a tough question, definitely. Like I said like 10 minutes ago, I like to try my best to give people advice when it comes to businessy kind of things too. But finding conferences is difficult. A lot of my stuff now is just repeat work and then people that know people. So I guess getting yourself in there and then repeating that event every year and then getting other ones based on that event is the best way to do it. Luckily I worked at a job before this where I was filming conferences for them, and then I met some people through that, and then whenever that finished, I was able to take on those conferences for myself and then work a network from that. So it's difficult for me to say exactly what you need to do, honestly, but if you go to a conference, like if you're interested in a conference, maybe you should reach out to them and ask them, do they have somebody to video? When you watch their previous year's videos, could you do a better job than that? Maybe they just used a phone, or maybe they just recorded the screens. Maybe you could say to them, I'll do it for free, and then some free work falls into other stuff. Doing stuff for cheap or free as you start out is always a good place to start. Next question. I use a Sony a6300 as your main camera, but I don't have any more money. That is one of those things, budget always comes into it. Can you use a webcam for second camera when you're live streaming? That was good English, nothing to be ashamed about there. Yes, you can, but it really just depends on your setup. If you're using Wirecast or OBS, you can just plug in a webcam to your computer and use that. I'm planning on making a video, I've said this 5 times already, but in the future where it's like different levels of, or different areas of budget. So if you want to spend this much, here's what you need, here's what you should buy for a multicam setup. If you want to spend this much, here's what you should buy. So webcam is definitely, I don't want to say on the bottom, but it's on the lower rank of money spent versus good quality. So yeah, if you're using Wirecast or something like that, plug it in there, and you'll be happy with the result. I don't really know what that webcam is in particular, how well it will work. Your A6300 will probably have a much better quality version or video than the other one. So what I would do is set up the A6300 like this, and then set up the other camera not like this, but maybe as like an overhead shot, because people will be a bit more forgiving about the difference in quality if it's like clearly a different shot, maybe like over the shoulder shot or something like that. So it's an idea. I'm just continuing looking at the comments. You don't need to see them, I guess. You can just look at me because you can see them already. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. The comments keep going to the bottom, so I'm trying to find my way back up again. Hi from Kenya. Hello, Kenya. What do I think of vMix? You're still struggling to find a good software. I would recommend vMix, definitely. Oh, wrong camera. La la la. I would recommend vMix. I personally have not clicked on the. I've seen vMix in real life on a different person's computer, but I personally have not played with it. But I'm a subscriber to their channel. I've watched every video I think that they've done almost. I've watched a bunch of their live streams. I'm a big fan of what they're doing. Their software. If I was a PC person, I would be using vMix right now. I thought about using vMix instead of buying the ATEM, but just based on my setup and what I wanted to do and things like that, and portability was a big thing for me. So building a PC that was powerful enough that fit in my cases. I had a lot of annoying restrictions, or not restrictions, but things I wanted to sit within. So I guess to answer your question in a roundabout way, oh, my flashlight's been on this whole time. vMix, yeah, I would recommend it. It seems to be what people recommend for if you're willing to buy a medium to expensive gaming PC, or you're wanting to build your own. vMix, you gotta get that on there. I would recommend it. It's worth it, most definitely. Aaron said, you found the channel through Doug Johnson Productions. I like Doug Johnson Productions, great channel. I've been a subscriber for a long time. I've got a video coming up soon about a few different channels that I find really useful, and that is on that list. So excellent channel, most definitely. Raza 786, you're saying the live stream is fine. Excellent. It's just 4G you were talking about earlier, so that's good to hear. And then, yeah, this is what distracted me earlier. Ricard, or Richard, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but you live in Eslov, and you've lived here in Krukwanta too. So obviously my pronunciation was quite good, and you understood what I was saying. And then whenever I said to you, how did you know where I lived? Because I said 10 minutes before that where I lived, so that was my stupidity. So you don't live that far away. I've been there many a time for many different reasons, which I'll get to. No, I'll never get to those, but yeah, I've been there a bunch of times. Double A, you like the portability of my last rig. Well, I think you're going to like this one even more, because the reason I rebuilt the whole rig was for the sake of portability. In fact, if I clear some stuff out of the way on the desk and I try my best to get a good angle here, you can see, putting these right beside each other, this is my old ATEM 1ME 4U case, and then this little tiny case here will be my new television studio. So the difference is 2 rack units. It's the same, slipping back in again. It's the same manufacturer case. It's the same case basically, but it's just the 2U version instead of the 4U. So hopefully you like my new setup, because like I said, it's the same thing but smaller, more portable. So that's great to hear. Random geocacher, you streamed from your iPhone sharing 4G. Didn't work for HD, but 480p seemed reliable enough. Okay, I guess if people were willing to be okay with the 480p, then that could work. But yeah, 4G, I haven't tested it much. I just can't imagine that without spending some money or bonding or doing a lot of tests, I would struggle to really trust it. Hello from Barbados. Very, very cool. You just subscribed because you're working on your own live stream with the Blackmagic web presenter. Excellent. Let me know how the web presenter is. I thought about getting one for this setup, but I didn't have the room for it. Oh yeah, and that's another thing about my previous discussion about 1080p versus 1080i. The mini recorder for live streaming, the one I'm using for this video right now, trying not to knock off the stream, it only goes up to 1080p 25, so that's another reason why I didn't want to go to 1080p 50. Just throwing that in there. The weird thing about chatting with viewers that we live so many seconds after you, so you're chatting about what you've talked about a few minutes ago. So this is me talking about you writing that a few minutes ago. Yeah, very good. Yeah, because I can see, it's funny, like the chat's coming up pretty fast, obviously, but I'll ask something and then it does take a while for some people to answer, and then some people answer much further after that. So it's I guess it's hard for, you couldn't really engage rapidly over this, and then by the time I read it, it's even longer. Seems like most people here are most interested in streaming, are more interested in streaming than recording. Aaron said that. That's a good point. Another reason why I want to do more live streams like this is because I want to make more videos about live streaming for the YouTube channel, right? I've talked about all the gear that I have. Well, not all of it, but I've talked about most of it. And what I want to talk about too is live streaming and equipment you need for live streaming. And while you can use all this gear for live streaming, it's just a piece of the puzzle. So a reason to do these live streams is so I can test this stuff and see, does it work? Does it look good? I'll probably watch this afterwards and see, was the quality what I wanted it to be? It might look good, yes, but is it as good as I wanted it to be? What settings do I need to adjust? So it's good to know, or if that's the case where people are more interested in like the streaming stuff than the recording, then that's excellent to hear. And it's probably why I've my most successful videos on here on the YouTube are for Wirecast 3-camera setup and a single camera OBS setup. So it makes perfect sense. People are interested in that kind of stuff because that's what people want to do now. A lot of people that come on the channel want to live stream in their apartment like this. Not as many people want to come on here and start a business that records conferences. So that makes sense. And I want to do more of that kind of stuff. I don't know why I keep pointing. Recording is easy, live streaming is hard. Fair enough, yes. And I'm facing more issues, technical issues while streaming than recording. Yes, definitely. So these are all problems that need to be fixed. And the other thing about the recording is that I can record here. I'm recording a version of this show, and then I'm recording. I'm not okay. If this was a conference, I'm recording here, and then I'm recording each camera, that one and that one, and then I'm recording all the other feeds. So I've got this, and I've got 3 other backups, right? But streaming, you've got that one chance. So there's no wonder people have more issues with it, because if I trusted this one recorder and it broke, then it would be annoying. But having multiple options is good. So maybe what we should do is simultaneously stream to various locations. But yeah, I can see why people would have so much problem there. Blue Flower Ninja. Is it possible to have a full kit compilation video from all your kit that you have bought so far, and how much it would cost for everything to buy? That's a good question. I will do a full like kit video on this setup, and then I will probably put a link to everything underneath that. So I guess that kind of answers your question. I don't know if I'll say like it cost me this much, because your price will vary, but I'll try my best to link everything, and then you can see how much it costs. So I'll see about that. It's a good idea. Double A, does live streaming while recording jam things up or something? Just wondering by some of the questions. I don't think I don't think it does. No, I think the problem is just live streaming is just such a, I think it's like volatile, like tiny little internet fluctuations can mess that up, but recording is super solid. So Doug Johnson, top geezer. That's what Raza786 says. Yeah, that's true. Top geezer. Let me see. Random Geocacher. If you stream once a year, is it stressful and interesting? It is stressful and interesting. Sorry. And you don't want to disappoint organizers. Exactly. Yeah. So what Random Geocacher is saying is like, I could stream a conference every week or every 3 days, and they could all go perfectly, and then one conference, it totally messes up, and the people online are annoyed. But for me, that's one in every 20, 30 conferences. But for the conference itself, which happens once this year, and all these people wanted to watch it live, and you messed it up, that really sucks for them. So it's just the pressure is really high for this little live stream, and sitting here in the kitchen table at this time on a Sunday night is this. Yes, of course there's pressure, but if it breaks, I'm just gonna say I'm sorry it broke, and then I just move on with the things. But I'm not getting paid to do this. But if you're getting paid to stream something and tens, hundreds, thousands of people are watching it, then the pressure goes up. The problems don't necessarily go up, but you really notice them if they happen. So if this recorder stops recording right now, then I'll just hit record again, and it'll keep going. But it doesn't really work that way for streams. It's harder to fix afterwards. I'm just skipping down a little. Have you any ideas for tally lights? EVG Media is asking this. We're using Strata app over iOS, and it's not bad if you have a good network. Tally light, I've not used any tally lights for any reason. I do everything by myself as a single person. So camera is all controlled by me. I tend to only use one movable camera, but and then my Multicamzilla thing, I'll be using that sitting in one place. So tally lights is not something I've even discovered yet, so maybe someday. And the Strata app over your network is great. I used to use Touch OSC to do MIDI, or not MIDI controls, OSC controls to the ATEM as well. It works great, but I just don't like the buttons, or the lack of buttons. That's what I like about the ATEM Television Studio HD, is that there's buttons on the front, so I can press them. And then my old setup, I used to have a MIDI keyboard with actual buttons, so I can just press them. I could operate the camera and not have to look at what I was doing, because I knew I was pressing the right buttons. So I tend to avoid the iPad stuff now. Let me see. Have you looked into an Intel NUC, or NUC, I think they're called, for your mobile rig? I don't think I need it. I did look at it, and I don't think it'll fit in my current setup, which is a shame. But I don't think I'll need it for this. I use this tiny little Latte Panda for anything that crops up, whether that be just a simple little on-screen graphic or something, or my live streaming breaks schedule. So they seem like great computers, but it's just too much for me right now. Like, I don't need the power of it. And then I'm going to take one last question before I wrap up this stream that has what I thought was going to be 30 minutes and now has been an hour and 15 minutes. Not that I have lots of other things to get to, but I really ought to just wrap it up. So my final question is, best low budget video camera for filming outside for an event for some staring. Alright, that was a bad reading of the question. But best low budget video camera, I am a big fan of the Canon range of the XA10 is the more professionally one that I use, and then this one is the HF-G25, an older model. There's newer ones than that. I'm a big fan of those. I can only really recommend what I have. Other things I've used is like the Sony RX100 Mark III I have, which is a tiny little, more of a camera pocket video camera than a camcorder. So I would go for something like these. They work great. Most of these cameras all work really well these days. A few extra features if you need them. So I would say that'd be good. I'm going to say, okay, no, that's it. Okay, there's a few other questions coming in there, but I'll just hold those for the next time. Like I said before, I'm going to try and do this much more often than I have been previously. I did one stream months ago, and then I did this stream now. So next year, once a month is my goal, and you will know if it works out because you'll either see it or you won't. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you tuning in, spending your Sunday night here, and just, yeah, chatting with me. As always, you can subscribe if you haven't already, but I'm guessing you have if you're watching this video. And you can comment below the video with any questions, or there's a link to the Facebook page under there. Go like that and send questions through the messenger. That's probably the best way, actually, through the Facebook inbox. There's a link to that below this video if you have any specific questions. There are some questions coming in there, so if you do want me to answer them when I get a chance, put them in that Facebook Messenger link below, and then I can get back to you, because I appreciate you asking questions. I'm sorry that I'm going to skip those questions and go tidy up all this equipment. So yeah, like I said, thank you for watching. I'm just going to cut to this little wide shot and then finish it there. Thank you. See you next time, hopefully. Bye-bye.